Hey there,
Hi guys,
it's Jenny,
and Betsy.
and here we are for the tall and the short of it education conversation today. So I want to start with a little bit of housekeeping while we're waiting for some people to pop on here. And so if you end up joining us after this comes up, after we've already started a while, you might want to go back to the beginning. And sorry, I'm adjusting my scarf. I feel like it's choking me. So you might want to go back to the beginning and listen to this part if you missed it the first time, okay? So hopefully somebody will pop on live here shortly and say hello to us when you come on. And always remember, if you watch on replay, give us a hashtag replay so that we know you were there, because we love that. But housekeeping wise, I actually watched another Facebook Live with someone who participates in a lot of pages and groups on Facebook, and she had gone to a workshop where they taught about the Facebook algorithm. And we all know that it doesn't drive you crazy, like when you're on and you're scrolling and you're looking at something and then all of a sudden it refreshes and it takes you to someplace else and you're like, where was it? And you like have lost it. So I know that drives you nuts. And then also sometimes it doesn't show you everything. It'll just only show you highlights of something unless you go in and change notification settings. So first of all, that's the first thing I wanted to talk about, is make sure your notification settings for our page are set to all. That way you're gonna see all of our posts and not just a highlight reel, okay? So if you don't know how to do that, you can go up to the little help on Facebook and say, how do I set my notification settings? And then it will show you, or you can type it into YouTube or Google and you'll find a video or something that will show you too. So,
Because we're posting daily, if not a couple times.
Yes,
a day.
sometimes twice a day. Trying to build up lots of things for you guys to look at, and just some funny things and some helpful things. And we'll keep that going for consistency. But just make sure you set those notification settings to all. And then second of all, in order for us to rank higher in your Facebook algorithm, there's some things that we're gonna need you guys to do so that we can stay in conversation with you. So one of the things you can do is whenever you see one of our posts, you can do two things. Okay, the first one is you can go to the part where the little thumb is, where you can say like, but we don't want you to just choose like, okay? Now I know some of you really like to just hit likes on everything and you go through Facebook hitting like, but Facebook algorithm doesn't even recognize a like that you're being social with other people. Facebook algorithm recognizes the hearts, the wows, the I'm mad about that. They want to see your emotion, okay, not just a like. So like gets like this really low rating in the Facebook algorithm, whereas all the other emojis get really high ratings. So the more you can pick another emoji, the better, okay? And that's number one. Number two thing you can do to make sure you're seeing all of our posts and that we rank higher in your Facebook algorithm is you can make a comment. So, and I know that's uncomfortable for a lot of people who just like to be Facebook lurkers, but if you don't comment on our posts, you'll stop seeing our posts. And that's just a fact when it comes to Facebook.
If you don't comment, we don't know what you like and what you want
That's
more
right.
of.
That's right.
And because we're going to keep putting stuff out there. So
Exactly,
might as well be
exactly.
something you want to see.
We're relentless. We will we'll keep going.
Which we'll talk about in a second,
yeah,
actually.
exactly.
That's part of our...
But we just want you to not miss anything, not miss out on conversations you want to be a part of. And then finally, one other thing you can do, and this is going to be half shameless self-promotion and half we want you to do this so that you'll be higher in your friends' Facebook algorithms, is you could actually share our page or other pages. You could share our page in a Facebook Messenger to someone who you think specifically would really like to listen to us. So if you know a teacher, you know a parent of a student with a disability, you know someone who works as a social worker or an occupational therapist, or something like that that would be interested in our education conversations, policymakers, if you know anybody like that, or lobbyists, those would be all people who might want to join in on the conversation. So share our page to their Facebook Messenger and say, hey, I really enjoy these ladies when they're talking about stuff, and I thought you would want to check it out. When you do that, that actually boosts your Facebook algorithm a lot with your friends. So just letting you know, sharing in Facebook Messenger actually ranks higher than you sharing to your personal page. It does help us too a little, but it helps you more than that even, and showing that you're being more social. The other thing about making a comment that I did want to say very specifically is Facebook only ranks anything less than 3 words. It doesn't really rank in the algorithm. So if you just say yes, it's not going to rank in the algorithm. If you just say that's great, it doesn't really rank in the algorithm. It has to be 3 or more words. And if you ask a question, it ranks higher than just a statement. Now, we're not saying you just have to only ask questions in our comments at all. No, we're not saying that at all. We're just saying the things that rank are the tiny comments, bigger comments, and questions rank even higher. Anything that's going to promote more social communication, which is what Facebook wants. So like I said, we all get mad about the Facebook algorithm for different reasons, but we definitely want you guys to stay involved with us.
Oh, look, it's your mama.
Oh, hi, Mom. We want you guys to stay involved with us, so we wanted to teach you a little bit more about how the Facebook algorithm works so that you make sure that you're always seeing us in your newsfeed. So if you missed any of that Facebook algorithm conversation, don't forget, you need to go back and you need to watch it after we're done here so that you'll be able to participate more with us online, okay? All right, now we're getting down to business.
All right. So this week we want to talk about being a problem solver, not a problem sayer. It's a little, I guess I coined the phrase a little, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago. I don't know where it came from or what. But at the same time, it is exactly kind of like what Jenny and I live by.
Absolutely.
And actually, I don't even think I brought it up about school. I think I
Right.
brought it up about something. So
About our personal
it works,
lives,
works
exactly.
everywhere. But okay.
It's a life skill.
Yes. Okay. Parents, teachers, administrators, everybody, I mean, people, anybody that's going to be watching us, we all have problems. I mean, that's just,
Issues of concern.
yes, that's just the way it is. That's kind of why we have the jobs that we have. And, you know, let's say, first of all, complaining about the problem isn't going to get you anywhere. And we'll talk about that in a minute, in a little bit. But complaining about it doesn't help. What helps and what is, let's solve it. Let's get this done. And I probably, and Jenny can tell you, I drive her nuts because I'm one of those, you set a problem in front of me and by golly, I'm going to figure it out. And it's kind of frustrating at times. But I mean, I'm just going to dig and I'm going to try and I'm going to try. And I like to say that I just haven't found it yet. And I mean, there are times that my yet has lasted over a year. And that's
We are always searching for what will work in education. What is going to work best for this student or this group of students, or what will motivate this child, or how can I change this behavior so that he can learn better, or, you know, we're always looking for, those are the types of things that come up, or how can I best meet his need without giving too much help. That's another one that comes up quite a bit. You know, how much help is too much help? Hey, Mitch.
we just have Jimmy's
I know,
family.
just my family watches today, but that's totally okay too. That everybody else will jump in. I'm sure. I'm sure many of you teachers are still probably just finishing things up in your classroom.
My mom's calling.
Oh yeah, your mom's calling right now. Oh goodness, that's great. But as we, you know, have problems that we face in education, I mean, even in policy situations, right now, a very current situation that's happening here in Indiana is we're all trying to figure out how to implement this dyslexia bill that passed in Congress last year. So we'll definitely be coming back to that.
We obviously had a big problem that Jenny had to solve today. It just came through. You left your lunch at home today. How did you solve that problem?
I did. I had to solve that one on my own. I figured it out though.
Okay.
Yeah, I realized.
Jenny's husband just let her know, and so
Yeah.
I see all the time, every day we have problems we are solving.
Exactly.
So,
but anyway,
yeah.
So back to the conversation. So when we're faced with a problem in education, you you have to analyze it from all sides, right? So we were kind of talking about how our little, our cover, Facebook cover, we put little double arrows on it, right? And that, you know, we have to look in multiple directions. We have to look at the environment. We have to look at what we're doing as teachers. We have to look at what's happening, maybe, I mean, it's even sometimes on the bus, in the home environment, and you know, there's all different kinds of things.
It kind of goes back to what we talked about last week, which behavior is communication, and you're looking at that. We talked a little bit about, like, trying to figure out what is motivating that behavior, and that's what we're doing. And you have to do that in order to start knowing where to find the answers, or okay, what do I need to start looking at? What resources am I going to tap into?
And then for academic concerns, when we're saying, you know, I just can't get him to memorize these facts, math facts, or he's not learning the sight words, or she can't borrow when she's, you know, subtracting, or whatever skill you're working on, or a social skill, you know, why can't I get them to understand that screaming at your friend isn't going to get you what you want, you know, or whatever. So when you have those problems, you have to create what we call kind of our little educator's toolbox, right? So we have this toolbox of resources, and that can include books, it can include people, it can include websites, it can include sometimes resource networks at the state level, it can include people, it can include parents.
Yes.
Parents know their kids. Sometimes you just have to ask. So, you know, just not being afraid to talk to everyone that you know as a resource.
Well, and a lot of people think that, I guess maybe I feel this way, is that I'm a special educator, so you must have been handed this toolbox when you graduated. When you walked across the stage, they said, "Here you go. Here's your."
BSU. It was red and white, and it had a little cardinal on the side, and it said "Special Educator Toolbox." No.
And so we are in charge. And when I say we, I don't mean a special educator. I don't mean necessarily just an administrator. I mean all of us are in charge of filling and creating our own toolbox. And obviously, the longer you've done this, the more time
the more tools you have.
The more time you've had to fill that toolbox. And you know, I'm one of those, I'm not a big let's go to professional development outside of the school. That's not how I typically fill my toolbox. One, I don't like to be away from my kids, and two, I think a lot of times they're just very surface, and after you've been doing this so long, you can only have those, you know, so often.
Right.
So like Jenny said,
Hey, Allison.
There's just, guys, the tools that are out there, and Jenny and I even sat down on my floor and started pulling out some of my books for my toolbox, I think I just pulled behavior books. I didn't even get into reading and math because I'm looking at them over on my shelf. But if you aren't sure, that's where you go to ask. I'll go down to Jenny's office and say, "Hey, do you have anything on this?" Or do you, because she's the one that would buy it for the corporation, for, hey, and she'll say, "Oh, I think so-and-so has it." So then I send an email and say, "Hey, do you have this book? Can you send it to me?"
One example I can think of from last year is we were dealing with a lot of passive aggressiveness from some students, and we had tried several things that weren't working. So Betsy did research, and she came down and she said, "Can you buy me this book?" And so we did, and she read it, then she gave it to me to read, and I gave us a lot of insight.
And here's the thing. The book did, for the particular situation I was wanting her to purchase it for, I got about 60 pages in, and I was like, nope, this isn't my student. However, I could rule that out. And so then I had to, the next book came from you. Jenny was like, you need to read this book.
Yes.
But, like I said, I probably would have continued down that path because that's what the behavior looked like to me. But like I said, once I got about 60 pages in, I thought, no, this is not my student. They do not meet these certain requirements. So just because I started to go down that path, I mean, yes, I'm frustrated that I'm 60 pages in and I don't have an answer, but I do have an answer that no, it's not this. And It got me.
Yeah, sometimes we have to rule out things.
But you also, that's part of my toolbox, and I know if I need to, I can go back and finish reading that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't continue reading it because I was bound determined to solve that problem. And,
Sure. But like she was going back to the point where she was saying that special educators don't have a secret sauce that we graduate with that tells us how to solve all special ed problems. Because if you think about it, there's 13 categories of disability. Can any one of us be masters of all 13 of those? No, absolutely not. So, and then even if let's just take mild disabilities, for instance. If you are a mild disabilities teacher, you can't possibly even be a master of all mild disabilities. Like, things are going to come in that are going to be brand new to you. Well, I've never heard of this syndrome, or I've never heard of, and so what do we have to do? We don't just know what to do about it. So we have to dig into that, find resources, dig into the toolbox some more, ask people, go online. I don't know how many times I Google stuff a day, just to figure out what I don't know about things, and just that constant learning about different things to fill that toolbox up. So back to our topic, be a problem solver, not a problem sayer. I find, and like I said, I learned this from a really awesome principal. I'll name drop you if you want, Alice Johnson. That back when she was my principal and I was a teacher, and she said to me, this is how I work, this is my management style. I don't like to micromanage. I'm empowering you to make decisions. She said, however, I'm here to help you, but don't come to me just with problems. Come to me with problems and possible solutions, so that I can help you make the best decision. And I just, that was so empowering to me as a teacher that I didn't have to go get her permission to do anything. She was giving me permission to find resources, come up with solutions, and then come to her to find out, okay, this is what I'm thinking for this is what I'm thinking, and then for her to say, well, sounds like you, and literally every time she would say, sounds like you know more about it than I do, go with that.
Well, and I find that it's easier, like if I come to Jenny and say, I've been looking at this, like I said, will you buy me this book? This is the book I want. I feel like I'm on the right track. And I don't know that you've ever said, no, I mean, right. No, it's not. I don't do it very often, but
no.
Granted, I think I purchase a lot on my own. But that's, I mean, instead of coming and saying, I don't know what to do. Now, have I said that before? By golly, yes, I have. But I would say if I've gone, I don't know what to do, it's because I've tried maybe 15 things.
Yeah, at that
I'm good about that. I am like, okay, hi
Megan.
I've reached, I don't know where else to look, I guess.
Right.
And I'm also one of those, I will always say, I don't mind looking, I just don't know where to look.
Exactly.
Point me in the right direction.
Exactly.
That's what and that's kind of, I think, let's go back to our arrows for a second. That's what we want to do. We want to help point people in the right direction, because it's not just about us telling you, oh, this is what you need. This is what you should do. Here you go. Oh, here you go. This is what you should do. You're able to apply it to so much more and so many more kids if you're the one looking for it.
Well, and like I said, as you build up those resources in your toolbox, and feel free, guys, to jump into this conversation at any time if you have insights about problem solving when you have concerns. Like I said, when we're doing that, we just have to look in so many different places. But like I said, I'll tell you my process. Whenever I'm confronted with an issue, the first thing is I want as much information about that issue as possible, right? So let's just do a scenario, a hypothetical. And Allison, jump in here. Anybody who's on with us, jump in here. We have a scenario where we've got a kid who is just really inconsistent with their learning. Let's say they're in the classroom, one day they seem like they're doing great, and then the next day it's like they never heard anything we've ever taught them before. So what would be some questions that we might need to ask? I don't know. I'm looking at you and anybody else who's on there. What kind of questions? What would we need to know about that? So That would be my first starting point. What else do I need to know about that? Is it just one subject?
Well, or is it a certain day of the week?
Is it after they've not had medication? Is it after recess every day? We would want to ask like tons and tons of questions first.
Or how was the lesson presented? Was it information that they had to read? Was it, because we can look at what type of learner are they? Is it when the lesson's being given in the worst way for them to learn?
Right. Is it when they're working with the teacher or when they're working with a teacher's aide? Is it, and like I said, it's not to place blame on anyone or anything. It's just to find out more information. Like I said, we talked about that where we ask a lot of questions sometimes if people get defensive.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we just want more information so we can get a clear picture of exactly what that concern is and what it looks like.
Can truly be tons of reasons. It could be, going back again to, it could be a medical thing where maybe they're not feeling well. It could be they're uncomfortable. It could be
attention. It could be
and it could be, again, like back to that learning. It could be presented in a way that is very difficult for them to learn.
Well,
there's just so many things, and so it's easier when we ask the questions and we can pinpoint it, because then there's not quite as much trial and error. Because guess what? Being a problem solver, that's what it requires. Trial and error. That's all it is.
Well, and
I fail all the time.
Like I said, and I'll give you a scenario that has happened to me just in the past couple of years, where we had a kid who was like that, very inconsistent, was not doing well on assessments one time, but then the next time would do fine, or they would, just even day to day or hour to hour wasn't retaining information, things like that. And then the next thing we went through all the questions. We're looking at everything. And remember when I said involve the parent? When I called the parent and started asking questions of the parent, come to find out this particular child was having absent seizures, but the parent hadn't informed us. So that was a medical issue that was interfering. Now we were able to get medical information. We're able to put a plan in place. We know what the problem is. We could work with the parent to figure it out. So like I said, it's drilling down to where that barrier is and what's going on with that. And then, like I said, work together, though. You have to work together.
Yes. You
can't do it all on your own. And I will say this, I have great respect for general education teachers. They, sometimes when I walk into their classrooms, I think, oh, good Lord. Like, I've taught middle school. There was a reason I could handle any kid for 50 minutes. But some of these elementary teachers, they blow my mind with their patience and their ability to just keep it going all day and handle the sometimes structured chaos that happens in a classroom. But, at the same time, sometimes they come to us as special educators like we have all the answers. And what we always try to say to them is, we can give you thoughts on resources, we can give you ideas, but we can't fix it. That's it. They're the teacher. If we come in and we try to fix something for you, it undermines your authority, number one, especially with behavior. And it won't be good for the child in the long run, for the two of you and us as a team to work it all out. It has to be our kids. It can't be your kids and my kids, ever. So
that's probably one of our biggest pet peeves.
Yes. It has to be our kids. Every kid
kids,
is a general ed kid first. Even if they're in self-contained, every kid is a general ed kid first. They need to be included in that community. So, any questions or thoughts out there before we kind of wrap up for the day?
Well, Jenny, and I did say at the beginning, like, let's be a problem solver instead of being a problem sayer. Guys, we all need to vent.
Oh,
and
yeah, good point.
We are not going to sit here and tell you that we don't vent, because after a rough day especially, you do. It does help for you to get it out. Okay, for me, I actually process a lot during, I process while I talk. A lot of times I'll come to Jenny and say, okay, I need to talk this out. And there are times that she may not ever even respond, and I've come to I'll come to the conclusion, but it's just, that's my way of processing. But the important thing is find your safe person. Do not vent to everybody. Okay? Like I said, Jenny we are each other's safe people.
Exactly. If you have to vent about something, pick your safe person, vent to that person. You don't want to become known as the negative Nancy in your building.
And by safe person, we mean I know what I am sharing is staying with Jenny. It's not,
Right.
and vice versa. And
there's a healthy way to vent and not be that problem sayer.
And honestly, we have even started, we'll say, I need to vent. And so that I know that when she's venting, I'm not in...
She's not trying to solve my problem.
I'm not in problem-solving mode. I'm just letting her, and vice versa. I'll just say, I need to vent. And honestly, both of us, once we're done venting, but it's like...
Yeah.
All right.
Now let's figure out a real solution. How do we need to tackle it?
But and that's, I think, a good way for both of us to recognize. I know what I'm saying isn't. I'm not being a problem solver. I'm not being resourceful right now. This is not a productive conversation. I get it. But for my mental health and right now, I need to I need to vent. And I will even say our venting doesn't. They're short. They're short. Because in the middle of venting, I usually am like, oh, wait, I haven't tried that. Oh, wait, I came up with something. I haven't got this.
Exactly.
Now, we said that special education teachers do not have the secret sauce. That is very true. But we do have a lot of resources,
right.
Hopefully.
We can point you in the right direction most times.
Lots and lots of books, and like I said, that's my preferred way of learning things. Give me a book.
Some people like videos. Some people like listening to podcasts, which I do quite a bit of in my car.
Yeah. Or even like I'll get professional development things in the mail, and I'll be like, oh, that sounds really interesting, and I start digging and researching the people that the person is presenting, because I'm like, oh, I want another way of. Sorry, I'm getting closer, so. Yes, there you go.
Yeah, I like that, Mom.
Try that out. See how it works. Let us know.
So, as we wrap up, we want to remind you that next Thursday is November 1st. So, isn't it crazy?
It is. Makes me nervous. I saw closer to Christmas and I'm not ready.
I saw something that there's only 7 Fridays till Christmas today. So I was like, I gotta start shopping and things. But so November 1st starts our new month, and we are gonna have a theme for the month of November. Now we have a hard decision to make about what that theme might be. So we've narrowed it down to 2, which we're gonna post in a poll on Monday. And we really need you guys to get on there and click which one you like. And then remember, what do we do for the Facebook algorithm? We either, give us an emoji about the topic that you chose, and then comment down there 3 or more words about why you want that topic out of the 2 that we have, okay? And that way we can announce then, probably by Wednesday, we're gonna pick what our 4 lives, because we're not going live on Thanksgiving. I'm eating, putting on my Thanksgiving pants, and I'm gonna be eating.
Yes.
But the 4th other Thursday, so there's 5 Thursdays in November, we'll put up the topics for our 4 lives on that theme. And
regardless of really what the poll comes out, yes, we'll be covering, you choose for November. The other topic will be covered, at some point.
We'll cover it at some point, sure. Yeah. Absolutely. So vote which one you want more on Monday. And like I said, we'll see you right here next Thursday on November the 1st, all right? Bye, guys.
Bye.